Today, we're zooming in on Japan, where we dive into Japan's evolving protein shift and what it means for both the meat and plant-based sector. To start, Jesse, what's happening on the conventional meat side? Can you tell us a bit?
Sure, Isa. Well, so over the past decade, Japan's per capita meat consumption for beef, pork, and chicken meat rose about 1% per year. But heading into 2025 and 26, growth is expected to moderate further, settling in the mid 1% range.
That is indeed very low, but what's driving this slowdown?
Well, it's been a combination of factors like demographic headwinds, shifting consumer preferences, and higher prices tempering demand, leading to a dampened outlook for Japan's meat consumption. The IMF projects Japan's real GDP to grow by 0.6% in 2025, but consumer sentiment remains cautious. Cost of living concerns continue to weigh on household spending, where we are seeing preliminary figures indicating a slowdown in Japan's food service industry during the first half of 25. This suggests that consumers are reducing their dining out habits, likely opting for smaller portion sizes and more affordable proteins options. With the outlook for meat consumption softening, Isa, do you see this creating room for growth in Japan's plant-based protein market?
Definitely, with what we are seeing right now, Japan's aging population hitting a record of about 36.2 million last year. That's nearly about 30% of the total population. So there's a growing focus on health and nutrition. So with this, I think that will create space for alternative proteins.
That's a good point, Isa. When it comes to plant-based alternatives in Japan, what are the main ingredients or commodities driving that shift?
On the plant-based side, usage of textured vegetable protein, or known as TVP, is expanding. So it's a low-fat, high-protein option that blends easily into traditional dishes. So you'll now find it in bento meals, plant-based gyoza, and even the vegan version of karage, which is the Japanese fried chicken, especially in convenience store.
That's true. With convenience being key in Japan's food culture, given their long working hours and busy lifestyles, do we know how Japan is sourcing these plant-based proteins?
Most TVP is produced domestically, but the imports are imported. So we're seeing an increase in the key ingredients right now. These ingredients are usually processed domestically into TVP, which then goes into a wide range of convenience food. As we've seen, there has been a rise in the imported key ingredient. Imports of protein concentrate rose about 16% year over year, and soy and wheat protein isolate increased by 26%. Wheat gluten even surged by over 100% year over year, and that's mainly coming from China.
Oh, that's a massive increase. And that raises an important question for us too. So with China's food use soybean consumption having grown steadily, about 4% annually over the past 5 years, reaching about 16 million metric tons in 24. Now, with the Chinese government aiming to boost domestic beef and pork prices in 25, we could see more consumer interest shift towards plant-based alternatives in the long run.
If domestic demand for soy-based ingredients continue to rise, that definitely could tighten export availability and raise supply risk for Japan's alternative protein sector. So even though Japan produces its own TVP, this growing reliance on imported input could raise supply risk down the line, especially as demand for plant-based options increase. So what about from the animal protein side, Jessie? Are you seeing any similar trends right now?
True is from the animal protein side, livestock producers in Japan are definitely feeling the squeeze. The aging farming population is driving a steady exit of beef, pig, and broiler farms, with the Ministry of Agriculture Japan reporting a, a nearly 5% year-on-year drop in beef cattle farms and also a 7% decline in hog farms as of early 2024. Coupled with Japan's heavy reliance on meat imports, this makes the market extremely vulnerable to global price shocks. And all of this helps explain why Japan's plant-based sector is gaining traction. The question now is, Isa, what should we be watching next in Japan's plant-based space?
From the innovation front, Japan is seeing plant-based seafood launches and new TVP formats like granules that resemble minced meat. And policy is all also supportive. Recently, the Food Tech Promotion Roadmap, updated last in 2023, in sometimes late 2023, highlight that alternative protein as a priority. And what we're seeing right now, the value chain is already well integrated. We're seeing trading firms and crushers source soy protein isolate and wheat gluten, which are then processed by protein manufacturers into TVP and supplied to food producers. What about from the animal protein side?
Well, while the Japanese government has been pushing for consumption of alternatives like game meat, the real focus is still on streamlining the domestic meat supply chain with improved breeding and technological upgrades.
And from the plant-based side, we're looking at steady demand growth, increase in local production supported by imports, and policy momentum, like the food tech promotion roadmap that prioritizes plant-based protein is pushing the sector even further. So, okay, that is it from us. Thanks for tuning in. For more insight, check out our monthly plant-based protein and Japan beef, pork, and chicken meat reports, where we provide short-term forecasts and market outlooks. Thank you.
Thank you.